Welcome to Karen's place, the space she uses to innovate. She'll make sure you're left thinking, I could do the same thing. Karen says, just do it. There ain't nothing to it. Just do it.
Welcome back, everyone, for another deep dive into the creative journal of Karen Eastland. It's week 12, folks, and Karen's been busy, as always, from March 17th to the 21st, 2025.
And it's a really interesting week, you know. This time around, we get a front row seat to Karen's exploration of AI in her art.
Yeah, AI, that's kind of the big thing right now, isn't it? Things like everyone's talking about it, and, you know, Karen's no exception.
Absolutely. But what's so cool is that she's not just talking about it, she's actually using it.
Right. In her creative process, no less.
Exactly. She's really diving into the possibilities and the limits of AI. This week's entries are all about how she's integrating these tools into her writing and her music.
So we've got her novel, the Josephine Marlin series, to discuss. And then there's the music, both the heavy metal Valhalla project with Wrecked and Ready and her Songs for the Goddess album. Those are very different styles, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. Which makes it even more interesting to see how she's using AI across these different genres.
Okay, so let's start with the Josephine Marlin novel. Her journal shows that she spent a good chunk of time, like from the 17th to the 19th of March, really focusing on rewriting A Friend in Need, the first book in the series.
Right, and she's making a pretty big change, too, switching the whole thing from first person to third person limited.
Yeah, that's a big deal. It's almost like writing a whole new book. I can imagine it being super challenging.
And she does mention it being tough in her journal, but it's also a chance to, like, step back and see the story in a new way. You know, with third person limited, you can still be close to the main character, Josephine, but you also get this wider perspective on what's happening.
So she's kind of experimenting with how to best tell Josephine's story. And that's where her AI creative companion, Sol, comes in.
Exactly. She calls Sol her AI co-pilot for writing, and for this rewrite, she decided to see if Sol could help with the shift to third person.
How'd it go?
Well, she gave Sol some paragraphs from the book, the ones written in first person, and Sol actually did a decent job of converting them into third person. Like, the grammar was good, and the perspective shifted correctly.
Sounds promising.
Yeah, but there was a catch, and it's a pretty big one.
What was it?
Karen said it felt flat, like technically correct, but it just didn't have her voice, her style.
That's fascinating. So the AI could do the mechanics, but it couldn't capture the soul of her writing.
Exactly. The dark humor, the urban fantasy vibe, all the things that make Karen's writing unique just weren't there. It was like a perfect imitation, but without the heart.
So what did she do?
She ended up rewriting those sections herself, like using Sol's output as a starting point, but then really going in and making it her own.
Which I think is a really important takeaway for anyone thinking about using AI in their creative work. It's a tool, can be super helpful, but it's not a replacement for the human element, for the artist's vision and voice.
I totally agree. It's like having a really skilled assistant, someone who can do the grunt work, but you're still the one calling the shots.
Okay, so we've talked about the novel. Now let's jump into the music. And this week, we've got 2 new tracks for Wrecked and Ready's Valhalla album to discuss.
Yeah, big week for heavy metal fans, and both of these tracks are deeply rooted in Norse mythology, which is the whole theme of the album.
Right. First up is Thunder God's Might, which dropped on March 20th.
Dedicated to Odin himself, the Allfather, and let me tell you, it does not disappoint. Pure heavy metal power, all about thunder, battle, and the might of the gods.
The lyrics are pretty intense. Like there's this one line, hammer cracks, sky ignites, thunder rolls, bring the fight. Gives me chills just hearing it.
And that chorus. Stand and fight, feel the storm, lightning crashes, worlds are torn. Raise your fists and heed his song. The thunder strikes, shaking the ground, where we were born with worlds at war.
It's like you're right there on the battlefield with the Viking warriors, feeling the power of the storm and the thrill of the fight.
And what's so cool is how Karen weaves in all this mythology. Like, you can really feel the weight of these ancient stories in the music.
And then we have FREYJA'S Lament, which Karen finished composing on the 21st. This one is a bit different, right?
It is. Still heavy metal, but maybe a little more, I don't know, poetic.
Yeah, like there's more emotional depth to it.
Right. It focuses on FREYJA, the goddess of love, war, and, like, destiny. And the lyrics really capture this sort of, like, tragic beauty about her.
Yeah, like in that line, golden tears. battle cries, love and war beneath the skies. It's like she's both strong and heartbroken at the same time.
Exactly. And the chorus, too. Freyja's call, hear her cry, warriors risen in bloodied skies, steel and sorrow, fate entwine, her heart and blade forever blind.
It's haunting, but powerful at the same time. You can really feel the tragedy of her story, the weight of her sacrifices.
It's amazing how Karen can take these ancient myths and translate them into such compelling music.
Okay, so we've talked about AI's role in her novel Rewrite and dived into these 2 new heavy metal tracks, but there's more to cover, right? Like, Karen also reflected on her From Then to Now podcast this week, specifically episode 3, which is all about her journey with AI.
Yeah, that episode, Using Tech to Further My Creative Process, really shines a light on how she's integrating these tools. She talks about starting in 2024, first experimenting with free versions of AI tools like Gemini and ChatGPT.
So she started small, just testing things out, seeing what worked for her.
Exactly. And then she started using more specialized AI tools like LM Studio for her writing. This one lets her run AI models on her own computer, which she connects to a private database of her work.
So it's like she's training the AI on her own style, her own world.
Exactly. That way, she can get more personalized suggestions, help with research, even explore different perspectives within her own established writing style.
And on the music side, she mentions collaborating with platforms like Krea and Udio. Those are both geared toward artists, right?
Right. Krea is great for generating visual concepts, like for music videos. And Udio helps with music composition and sound design, so again, very specialized tools to enhance her creative process.
So it seems like she's really embracing AI as a partner in her creative journey. But, and this is important, she's still the one in control.
Absolutely. It's like what we talked about with the novel Rewrite. AI is a tool, a powerful tool, but it doesn't replace the artist.
And she makes that very clear in her key takeaways for the week. She talks about how AI can help transform writing perspectives, but it can't replicate an author's unique voice.
And she talks about how her heavy metal is an evolving form of storytelling, drawing from mythology. And her Songs for the Goddess album captures the poetry of nature through ethereal music.
But the most important takeaway, I think, is her emphasis on balance. AI can enhance creativity, but it should never dictate it.
She calls it being a brilliant co-pilot, but never the pilot.
Perfect analogy.
Yeah.
The technology is there to support her, to help her reach new heights, but she's still the one flying the plane.
Now, looking ahead, there's more exciting stuff coming from Karen. We've already mentioned the ongoing Josephine Marlin revisions and the release of Thunder God's Might and FREYJA'S Lament.
But she also mentions Battle Cry, another Valhalla track that actually came out on March 18th.
Just missed our window for this deep dive, but definitely worth checking out for you metalheads.
And then there's the Allfather's Feast, which is scheduled to drop on March 25th.
Sounds epic already. I can't wait to hear how she interprets that particular myth.
And for the Songs for the Goddess fans, she mentions the upcoming release of Feast of Sirimnir.
She even included the lyrics in her journal, which, just from a quick glance, seemed to dive deep into the themes of feasting and warrior culture, but with a more ethereal, otherworldly vibe.
So, a lot to look forward to from Karen on all fronts.
This week's deep dive into her journal really highlights how artists are navigating this whole AI thing. It's a fascinating process to watch, and I think Karen's approach, her thoughtfulness, and her commitment to maintaining her artistic vision are incredibly inspiring.
I couldn't agree more. It's a reminder that even with all this incredible technology, the heart of creativity still lies with the young artist.
And with that in mind, I think a good question for all of you listening is this. How are artists in your favorite fields, whether it's music, writing, visual art, whatever, how are they using AI? What do you see as the biggest opportunities and the biggest challenges? Because this is a conversation that's just getting started. And Karen's journey is a great example of how to approach it with both curiosity and a healthy dose of critical thinking.
It's a brave new world out there, and I'm excited to see where it takes us, both as creators and as consumers of art.
Me too. And I have a feeling Karen Eastland will be right there on the front lines, pushing boundaries and showing us what's possible. So stay tuned, folks.
And until next week, keep those creative sparks flying.
And don't be afraid to experiment. You never know what you might discover.